Opportunity to wish everybody a very happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. As we come to the end of 2024, it might be helpful to take a hard look at where we are as a nation and how we can best go forward. And let me be honest with you in saying that we are in an extraordinarily pivotal and volatile moment in American history, and things are moving very, very rapidly. The most important point that I want to stress today is how fast our country is evolving into an oligarchic society and into two very different Americas. On one hand, we have an America that consists of less than 1,000 billionaires, not a whole lot of people in a nation of 340 million, who have an unprecedented amount of wealth and power and have never, ever had it so good. That's one America. The other America, where the vast majority of our people live, consists of tens of millions of families who are struggling to put food on the table, pay their bills, and worry that their kids will have a lower standard of living than they do. In the first America, the uber wealthy buy $500 million yachts, $270 million mansions. They have private islands all to themselves. They got fleets of jets to take them all over the world. And occasionally they take cool trips on rocket ships that blast off to the edge of outer space. A lot of fun. They also receive the best health care money can buy, and they send their kids to the very best private schools and colleges in the world. In this America, the three wealthiest men, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. Three people own more wealth than the bottom half of our society. And their wealth is skyrocketing. Musk alone is now worth over $450 billion. And combined, these three men are now worth almost $1 trillion. In the other America, millions of Americans are struggling just to provide for the basic necessities of life. In this America, over 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck. Millions work for starvation wages. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured, and over 60,000 die each year because they can't afford to go to a doctor on time. In other words, we are living in a nation today where a handful of billionaires have more money than they could spend in 1,000 lifetimes, while at the same time, millions are living in desperation, fear, and are struggling to survive. But let's be clear. Our country is not just experiencing an unprecedented level of income and wealth inequality. Today, the ruling elite have brought about a situation in which we now have more concentration of ownership than we have ever had before. In other words, a small number of giant corporations have enormous control over our economy in sector after sector: healthcare, agriculture, financial services, energy, transportation, you name it. A small number of giant conglomerates control what is produced and how much we as consumers pay for their products. Unbelievably, just three Wall Street firms, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, control assets of more than $22 trillion. These three Wall Street firms are the major shareholders in 95% of S&P 500 companies, exerting enormous control of the largest corporations in the world. Three Wall Street firms, unbelievable power. And that is not all in terms of what's going on today. It's not just the billionaire ownership and control over the economy and the media that should concern us. the uber rich are also buying our government. They are buying our government and undermining American democracy. Never before in our history have we seen a ruling class with so much political power. As a result of the disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, billionaires and their super PACs can spend unlimited sums of money on political campaigns. And that is exactly what they are doing. You get one vote. They get to spend unlimited amounts of money. During the 2024 election cycle, just 150 billionaires, 150 people, spent nearly $2 billion to buy politicians who support their agenda and to defeat candidates who oppose their special interests. Billionaires who represent just 0.0005% of our population accounted for 18% of total campaign spending. My friends, that is not democracy. That is not one person, one vote. That is not what this country is supposed to stand for. In his Gettysburg Address in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln spoke about, quote, a government of the people, by the people, for the people, end quote. Well, sadly today, we have a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, for the billionaire class. We are in a pivotal and unprecedented moment in American history. That's the simple reality. Either we fight aggressively all over this country to create a government and an economy that works for all of us, or we will continue to move rapidly down the path of oligarchy and the rule of the super rich. The choice is clear. We must stand together for democracy and justice. Let's do it. Thank you all very much.
We hope that message set in and just makes people think about what kind of future you guys want going forward. It doesn't matter who's in office, but a lot of people have way too much power, and that doesn't really benefit anybody. So don't sleepwalk into the next 25 years if you're not going to have the control that you think you have as an American, and be mindful of what's going on around you. So that's my message. I'll catch you guys in the next division video. Have a good one. Be safe. Bye-bye.
So, guys, if you have studied capitalism or just had an interaction with any content or materials on capitalism, then it is not new to you what this guy is trying to explain. He's just basically trying to explain what capitalism is and how it is actualized in real life. Now, for many people, capitalism sounds like something that is made up and something that is not real, that does not happen in the real world that we live in. Shockingly, most of the countries in the world are actually capitalist, and they thrive on this one statement, and that is to make the rich richer and to make the poor poorer. Yeah, the rich will remain rich and the poor will remain poorer. Now, if you have ever heard about that statement, you probably thought it's just a made-up thing that does not carry so much weight, maybe not very true, maybe, you had all those things going on in your mind. The reality of things is that America is one such place that capitalism is the order of the day. The country and the way that it is designed, the systems, the leadership, the people that are elected, everyone has one goal: working on that system that operates on making the rich richer. That is the main deal. And the other big deal is to make the poor people poorer. That's why sometimes you might question yourself, why are you working so hard and you're not getting to where you want to be? Why is it that you are trying? Why is it so hard for a poor person to move and to another stage in life? You know, there are those categories, assuming there are like 7 of them. So the people in the middle are the middle, you know, like they're doing fairly well. They have businesses, they have money, and they can survive without working for a short period of time. And then anything lower than that is now the people that are not doing so well. Down to the ones that are lowest are the ones that are actually homeless. They cannot afford food, stuff like that. Their main aim is to make sure that whatever level you are, you maintain it there. There is no going above that. So being at the middle and you want to go higher to join the elite, going to be the hardest thing ever in the world. They make it so hard that even if you work so hard, it is not going to be possible. That's why you realize everyone, whatever stage of life you are, you can only be a little better in that category of people, but not like moving to the next level. That's how the country is designed, to keep you where you are, to keep you poor. And sometimes in other cases, it's actually taking you lower, you know, like it's pulling you down every other time. So if you're not very careful, instead of maintaining it where you are, you will actually you'll go down. And just know how hard it is. Once you dip, it is going to be very hard for you to even go where you used to be initially. That is capitalism for you, and this is the reality of America as we speak. You have not had the rich people complaining. They have nothing to complain about. Everything is running smooth in their favor. Everything is designed to work for them. They do not have to work a day in their lives. Everything, all the systems are designed to make that smooth for them. They can sleep all day, all month, and still gain more money. But you try that. Try sleeping one day and see how that affects you. Now, these people, when you complain about life becoming harder, you are unable to afford groceries, you are unable to afford fuel or gas, you are unable to pay school fees and rent, you know, this is good news to them, because now it validates them. They now know that they are working and they're doing their work right, exactly how it was supposed to be. That was the design, so it means that they are actualizing it. And it's working in their favor, of course. If you're becoming poorer, then it means they're becoming richer. And these people are stripped of their humanity. They do not ever sit and think, what of the common citizen? What of the marginalized people? What about those that are in need? What about those that are not affording food? They don't think like that. They always think of themselves, their families, their friends. They live in a bubble, yeah? They just live in a bubble. They are so far removed from the reality of life that they are unable to understand a thing that you say. And it's everywhere. There's one time in my country, I saw the president being asked this question. How much do you think, just try to imagine even the framing of the question. How much do you think sugar, 1 kg of sugar costs? He was smiling sheepishly, not knowing a thing about that, because how is he supposed to know? And that is your leader? So, and then he ended up guessing, and guess what? He said an amount that was 4 times the actual. So this person has no idea which country he's leading. He has no idea, like that is someone that is unable to relate to the fact that people are going hungry. He thinks it's a lie, it's a prank. When you people are on the streets saying you do not have food, you cannot afford rent, and life is hard, he thinks it's a joke. He thinks you're being funny, yeah? You're exaggerating things. But that is the reality of life. People are unable to do these things, these basic things. They do not have a place to sleep. They do not have food. They do not have clothes. They cannot afford simple human decency. Decency is all people are actually asking for. Those are basic needs. They should be easy to come by. But capitalism makes sure that does not happen, because if it does, then they will not remain rich. They will not get richer. It will mean that some of their wealth comes down to people, because that is how it works. You have to take something from them and take it down and let it flow down for things to change. And that is exactly what they do not want. They do not want to share what they have. These billionaires, if they had the heart of humans, the kind of money they have is the kind of money they do not need. They cannot use that money in 1,000 lifetimes. Nobody has that, so they should be sure that they cannot afford to use all that money. You don't need that much. If they decided that money was enough for everyone in this world, every single person, women, children, every single human would be able to get something tangible, something big and enough for a lifetime. But that is exactly what they are against. They do not want that. They do not want to help others to climb a ladder higher, because that is an inconvenience. So guys, let me know your thoughts about this video and what the guy had to say. Let me know what you think about that, and if this has affected you, how much has it affected you, and what do you think is the solution to these things? Talking is one, but what is the real solution to these things? Okay, so guys, if you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly consider doing that immediately. Returning subscribers, thank you so much for always choosing to be here. And if you want to join my membership, kindly feel free to do so. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like it a bit too much, give it a super thanks. And I will see you on my next video. So guys, bye for now.